So, if you clicked on this video, that means that you know Kmac2021, and if not, then here's a quick summary.
What's poppin' YouTube?
Like, share, subscribe, and look out for more cool, useless fucking content.
I found this guy recently, and while browsing through the comment section under his videos, I was bombarded by these. And that's where the idea for this video is coming from. So, to answer your question, Kmac,
Why anyone would make a video about me, I have no idea.
Research purposes, and we're still in lockdown, so I'm bored as fuck. Since your chances of becoming a true meme lord increase indefinitely when using a Scottish accent, let me show you how to achieve that, offend all Scottish people, and get your head ripped off. So now that I've clarified that, let's begin. First of all, let me make a few things clear. In linguistic terms, Kmac doesn't really have an accent, but rather a dialect. I might have an accent because English is not my first language, but he doesn't. So for the sake of this video, I will refer to this as dialect. Secondly, I will use some letters in this video that might be unfamiliar to you. These are letters taken from the IPA, or International Phonetic Alphabet, and represent the exact sound I'm talking about. Using just English letters would prove to be really unpractical, since most Americans would pronounce this word bath, while most British people would pronounce it bath, giving the letter A two different pronunciations. The IPA solves this problem by using separate letters, but don't worry about it too much though, you will get used to them very quickly. Now with that out of the way, let's dive into it. There are three parts that generally make up accents and dialects in a language: pronunciation, vocabulary, and melody. I should start off by showing you the most recognizable sounds of the Scottish accent and comparing them to the general American pronunciation. Those are the sounds that end up being in most of the jokes in the comments.
The I in tip or mix can turn into many sounds depending on where you are in Scotland. Kmac mostly uses or instead though.
Extreme guitar tap! Extreme guitar tap. Your mix sounds good. Guest musicians to add a little flavour. I've been using a different guitar in some videos.
Or my personal favorite.
You'll soon be an instant Instagram hit!
Another instantly recognizable diphthong is the ow in sound or loud. Short note, a diphthong is just a combination of two or more vowels. In Scottish, this diphthong is pronounced ow, so sound becomes sound.
No, that's not the crowds applauding the excellent sound.
Insane writer's block right now.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Today we're going to be counting down the top 10.
This sound is actually really common in this area of the UK, and you'll see that Kmac uses this sound a lot, as a standalone or in combination with other letters.
We talk about music. Not really had the mood to... I'm going to just make sure my guitar's in tune.
In the last clip you can also hear that some consonants are softened, but I'll get back to this a bit later. The last diphthong I want to talk about in detail is the I in time or right. Kmac will turn this into an A, for example here.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It's time for the nice clean tone. We're about to find out. Perfectly lined up together. Someone one day was playing Minecraft and heard a Minecraft villager go...
And with this simple guide,
Now what this sound change also does is it makes the word spicy sound like spacey, but the word spacey is pronounced spacey. And that's why people were joking about this moment right here.
It's not spacey enough. Now we're talking.
So yeah, Claudio, the myth is busted. He did say spacey, not spicy. Now there's a bunch of more changes to the vowels, so let's get over them rather quickly. The A in late, frame, or spacey gets reduced to E, so late, frame, and spacey. The oi in choice, point, or boy gets fronted to oi, so choice, point, and boy. The air in pair, square, or fair turns into air, so pair, square, and fair. And the O in no, tone, or zone gets reduced to O, so no, tone, and zone. Then we have the sounds where American English makes a difference, but Scottish doesn't. Both the A in bad, trap, pass, as well as the A in father, palm, or spa, are reduced to the shorter A in Scottish, so bad, trap, pass, father, palm, and spa. On the opposite, we have the sounds where Scottish English does make a difference, but American English doesn't. Look at these four word pairs: burn, fur, bird, sir, earth, learn, winner, figure. In American English, the combination sounds with R all sound more or less the same, but Kmac pronounces them differently, even if just slightly. Burn and fur.
My face is fucking burning. I've just been kind of burnt out recently.
Bert and ser.
No, sir. No thank you, sir.
Should be Bert and sir, but Kmac doesn't do that. Some other Scottish natives might though. Earth and learn.
I learn Skrillex songs on their guitars.
And wenner and figure.
To be honest, you'll have to figure that one out.
I've also noticed that Kmac doesn't really roll his R's much, but I'll get back to this later as well. So, let's move on to the consonants. So the T in tune becomes ch, chun, or stupid becomes stupid. As a result, D will also be softened to j, so duty becomes duty. By the way, that should also mean that jun and jun sound the same, but any Scottish native can correct me here if I'm wrong. Anyway, that's not the only change happening to the consonants. As it is with many dialects of British English, T's after vowels and at the end of words are dropped frequently. Mix that with the phonological roots of Kmac's dialect, and critical, metal, matter, and Scottish turn into critical, metal, matter, and Scottish. Now let's get to the most recognizable consonant in the Scottish dialect, the R sound. There are, I would say, 4 main ways of pronouncing R's. The trilled R, found in Spanish, Italian, Russian, and many other languages. The uvular R, found in German, French, Danish, or Portuguese. The English R, which is also found in Albanian and Dutch. And last but not least, the tapped R, found in many languages as well as in the Scottish dialect. And the tapped R is what I would expect Kmac to use, but he regularly switches between R and R, which, to be fair, should not come as a surprise because there's always some variation in everybody's speech. But I want you to compare Kmac's R to the R of those two YouTubers, and you'll find that they tend to roll their R's more.
Alrighty folks, I have a problem. I literally can't stop using the Strela rocket launcher in Warzone. It's simply too much fun.
Now that the holidays are over, it's about time to shape up for January with some regular food.
So, this is where we're at right now. We have guitar companies who are creating surfboards with strings on them and we're trying to pass them off as a playable instrument.
Every dialect has words that differ from their counterparts in the standard language, replace them, or cannot even be found there. And I wouldn't be surprised if Scottish slang is pretty. Oh yeah, that's what I thought. Extensive. Now I've been through 40 to 50 of Kmac's videos, and I couldn't really find any specifically Scottish slang words, other than this phrase maybe.
Because I come from a small village outside of Glasgow and I have quite a lot of slang in my talk, I don't think it would sound too nice.
I mean, he says that he uses a lot of slang, but maybe only in his free time or with his friends, so I can't really give you a good example here. But I didn't want to end the section without having a few examples of how the Scottish slang is used, so I put together a small compilation.
We're organised and ongoing, even just to have a blether.
Stories we blether live on forever.
If you want to avoid the boat the next day, maybe you should stick to ginger.
With your mountain thyme and all your currying, and you can say...
What would be a fine Scottish breakfast?
For me?
Tatty scones are definite.
Couple of tatty scones, couple of fried eggs.
For me to continue to fulfil the duty I have in this chamber.
These examples barely scratch the surface, but they might be a good indicator of what you might hear when being in Scotland. Getting the melody of a language or dialect right is one of the most challenging things you can attempt to do. I mean, look at me. I'm certainly feeling mentally challenged right now. This is why you can have people speaking foreign languages perfectly with regard to their grammar and pronunciation, but somehow they still sound a bit odd. Everything can be perfect, but an unfamiliar melody can immediately reveal that you're from somewhere else. Probably you will never sound 100% like a native, but the good news is that you can get pretty damn close. With melody it's a bit tricky and vague. There is no scientific way that tells you how you should feel the language or dialect, obviously, but I've come up with a pretty handy solution of how you can imitate the Scottish accent. After some ungodly amount of hours listening to American and Scottish YouTubers, I've noticed something in the rhythmic pattern of the words' intonations. Now keep in mind that the intonation of these words might change depending on where you are in a sentence, but generally speaking, Scottish words tend to be more monotone after the main stress of the word. Now take a look at these words and listen carefully how Americans pronounce them and how Kmac pronounces them.
Very, very powerful.
You're too powerful.
And how it can really have a massive impact.
But I feel like the words have a strong impact.
He would deliver them to his subscribers.
was when I hit 100,000 subscribers.
Blockchains allow for us to create
and maybe even create a whole new genre.
No solo genius, no flash of inspiration produces one of those movies.
But yeah, Lemmy is a big inspiration and he's a very funny man.
If you compare the melody and the intonation side by side, you'll notice two things. First, where Americans just raise their voice in order to emphasize the intonation, Kmac and other Scottish natives raise their voice in a gliding motion. Secondly, after the stress, Americans tend to lower their voice immediately, whereas Scots hold the tone more or less steadily. Again, this may change within different sentences and heavily depends on how emotionally the speaker talks, but it is still a good rule to go by.
Now, combining all of these rules, I might be able to imitate the Scottish accent, but as I will instantly hear, it still sounds a little bit odd. But I'm sure the Scottish natives will help me out after seeing this video and... oh, there they are. Why are they angry?
Yes.
To draw a conclusion in the end, Kmac's dialect doesn't really stand out from the standard too much, except for a higher usage of instead of and an irregular use of frequently replacing it with So I'd rate it a
strong 9 to a 10 on this thing.
Thanks a lot for watching this video. It took me a long time to research everything, find examples and edit the video. I haven't planned to make this into a series, but if you know other English-speaking YouTubers that have a dialect or a foreign accent, let me know in the comments and I might make a video about them. If you actively want to help this channel out and like language or linguistics related content, consider subscribing and giving a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to Kmac already... Why? Last but not least, Kmac, if you stumble upon this video, let me know if there were any inaccuracies, and yeah, please continue to entertain us with great content, great music, and horrible, horrible memes. We're all looking forward to that. Stay healthy and see you soon. Nope.